I'm a full-time artist, and this is how I force inspiration to come to me more easily. So I've been a full-time artist for 8 years now, and in this video I'm mostly talking about manifesting inspiration, or letting inspiration come to you, come through you, and so you can transfer it onto paper. And I'm not talking about like life being total chaos and then being able to force inspiration or new ideas to come. There will be times, probably, if you're going through something massive, where you feel the urge to create, and that's when you need to be kind to yourself, like extra kind to yourself, and enjoy those moments to create. There's no way, like, I wouldn't recommend you force anything if your life is like complete chaos, but I want you to know that the tips that I'm going to share in this video will probably also help you if you're going through a rough patch and you have time to create and you want to tap into that artist state, like you want ideas to come. The tips that I'm sharing in this video will definitely help. This is what works for me. I've been through a lot of chaos, like especially in the past years, while I was still being a full-time artist, and it has impacted my work. But for me, and especially at the time, like, financial instability is like huge for me. It blocks me so much, and I'm very thankful that I have my patrons who have always had my back, even throughout the mess and the chaos, and when I wasn't fully present in my art and in my job anymore. I'm back to building up my work, hopefully to where it was before, but yeah, I'm doing things differently than I was like 3 years ago, but I feel like I'm more aligned now with my work, with my life, and with myself than I was in that period. So I look at it as like two separate periods in my life, and the artist that I am today is definitely not the artist that I was 3 years ago, and I'm actually thankful for that, as well as I'm not the same person that I was back then. So we grow, we evolve, and especially in those times, like in that period, I looked for ways to tap into my creative side. Yeah, because that was still necessary, like it was still my job. But the tactics that I'm going to talk to you about that in this video are the ones that I'm using right now still. Life is not just creating, and my job is not being at my desk. Like, it is being at my desk at like 8 in the morning, and I need to tap into that artist side. And there's like this side of admin, which is a logical side, and then you need to make time to create because you're an artist and you want to create, and it's also still my passion. But if you've been doing like this logical work, it requires some effort to like start your creative work. So what I do is, first of all, I allow myself a lot of rest. And I don't mean like I'm working every day. I wake up every day at 7:30 and I make sure that I'm at my desk at 8 every single day. Like there's no excuse. I make sure that I have this routine of actually doing the gesture, like having the discipline to show up every single day for myself, because that's super important. I think that's super important. There's a routine, and there's me putting myself to work, and I love that. Like, I love being self-employed. I've been so grateful for it throughout the last 8 years. Like, it's everything that I'm supposed to do. I feel super aligned with being an artist, and I love my job so much. But it is hard to go from doing logical work to doing creative work. And so what I would normally do is, if I look at my days, I would either schedule a full day for creative work, or I would schedule like half a day for admin and then half a day for creative work. And usually the creativity happens in the afternoon. The reason why I'm doing that is because when I have done all my admin work, there's like a weight that lifted off my shoulders. Of course, that's not like what I want to do, but it needs to be done. And when it's done, I feel so light that it's so much more easy to tap into my creativity in the afternoon. I turn off my computer, I sit at my drawing desk because I have like this L-shaped desk, and there's my computer and here's my drawing desk. So I make sure that my computer's either turned off or that there's like a video playing in the background or a podcast playing in the background, or I have my book that I listen to, like my audiobook, and then I move to this desk and I have two separate places for those two separate parts of my job. If I'm unable to start drawing, like I have no ideas and like absolutely blank, it happens, it sucks, but it happens. Then the first thing that I would do to create like that, because I don't know if you've read the book The Artist's Way, but it's definitely like, I would recommend it to every artist out there. And so it made me look at my creativity in a whole different, from a whole different perspective, in a whole different light. Because the author, Julia Cameron, I believe it is, she mentions that inspiration and ideas come to you and you need to like open a portal for it to transfer through you. And ideas always come in pairs. Like that's why some artists or some other creators would make something similar to what you've created. I mean, of course there's art theft, but I also believe that we're human beings and we have no idea what plays like outside of what we're able to see. So I would totally believe that ideas would come in pairs. But you're actually the medium. Like there's the idea and you're the medium and you transfer it onto your canvas. And so she mentions that if you're blocked, you are blocking the ideas to come to you. And when you look at it like that, and when you think about ideas in that way, there's like, you understand that it's not like you. Like the idea doesn't need to come from you. You don't need to do anything like to activate your brain or your idea center or something. An idea must come to you. And so if you're blocked, it means that you're blocked. Like there's some tension in your body. So what I would do, and this will sound super silly, but I would take a shower. And have you never heard of like artists or artists in general saying like ideas would usually come like in the shower, or if I take a walk, or if I'm on the toilet, because those are the moments that you're usually just focusing on what is happening at that time. Like you're not, your brain is not on for different things at those times. So, and also water is like purifying, so showers are really good for that. It relaxes you to a level where you're opening yourself up to energy to come to you. Again, I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but it kind of feels that way. So sometimes I would put my cell phone like on the corner and an idea would pop in my mind and I would immediately write it down. Because if I don't write it down, sometimes I would forget. And especially in the evenings, that's like my second tip or third one. I don't know. I'm just rambling on what works for me, and I hope that maybe it works for you too. But if an idea comes to me before I hit, like there's like that moment between you're super tired and you're about to sleep, but you're not fully like sleeping yet. You're still like conscious in a way, but there's like a small margin between still being conscious and knowing like what you're thinking and being fully asleep. So when an idea comes, I would have like my notepad next to me, and when an idea pops up, right before I hit sleep, I would just jot it down before I go to sleep. Just because when you think, and I've had this happening before, like that was a huge mistake I made in the beginning of my career. If I had an idea right before hitting like full sleep mode, I would think to myself like, oh, I'm going to draw this tomorrow. But I would think it, I would not write it down. I would not remember it the next day. I would wake up and I would think like, I had this idea yesterday and totally forgot what it was, because an idea have come to you, or an idea has come to you, you write it down and you kind of saved it for another moment when maybe you're not really, yeah, maybe you are blocked in a different moment, and then you need that notepad or your notes on your phone to help you with that, with your new piece. Because sometimes it's like there's like stages with creating, and you need ideas to come, and that's a whole different stage than actually drawing or creating the idea. I believe, like in my experience, those can be two separate parts of the process of creating. Sometimes I would be at my desk and I wouldn't feel like, sometimes I would just not feel like drawing or creating, and the desk space just doesn't feel right. I would take my materials and I would just sit anywhere else if that's the problem. Like, you need to be fully aware what the problem is at every given time. I would just allow myself to sit someplace else to draw. It's totally fine. Like, I don't need to sit at my desk to create. I have this routine, and for me, I have a workplace, but I don't always need to be in my workplace if I feel like I want to make art somewhere else. Like, for me, I love to be outside, and especially during summertime, I just sit outside a lot to draw. And sometimes I would just sketch outside or ink outside and then color my pieces inside. And that's totally fine. Like, give yourself the freedom to be an artist, to be like this, to feel this liberation and this sense of freedom to create wherever you want. And then sometimes I would want to draw, but I feel like I'm unable to. Like, my sketches don't feel like I want to continue. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but sometimes I feel like I like my skills are not there. And then I would just take a sketchbook, like a different sketchbook. I have an ugly sketchbook, which is also a great tip if you want to, yeah, get yourself an ugly sketchbook. And I don't mean ugly like ugly. You just have a sketchbook that no one necessarily needs to see. Like, you can actually go full on nasty in the sketchbook and no one would care because no one would see. Get yourself one of those, because if you feel like you cannot draw, and I mean, I would never say, by the way, I would never say like force yourself to draw. The force your inspiration quote is mainly me, like what I do to force inspiration to come. But I would never ever force anyone to do anything. So if you don't feel like drawing, just don't draw. Draw at another time. That's fine too. But in my case, I want to draw at certain times and I schedule it in, and I think the discipline is important, and I taught myself how to manage the inspiration and the ideas, and how to, like, there's no way if an idea comes before I hit, like before I go to bed or before I go to sleep, that I would take my materials and I would start drawing. Like, there's no way. Like, don't force yourself in any way to do all-nighters to create, because I've done that in the beginning and that just doesn't, like, that doesn't last. That's not healthy. So I'm trying to manage my job in a very healthy way, and I'm just looking at things that work for me, and maybe some of those things will work for you too. So the ugly sketchbook, draw whatever you like in the ugly sketchbook, and sometimes cool ideas will pop up because you're actually doing something, like you're releasing everything in that time. You're releasing your non-existing ideas, and you're just drawing whatever you like. And sometimes it happens that I draw something and I think to myself, like, that would be an awesome wallpaper for my patrons, and then I move forward with that, and that is pretty cool. It's all practice, and it's all seeing what works for you. Maybe the shower doesn't work for you, but maybe taking a walk in the forest would work for you. Maybe I mean, I hate doing groceries, so I schedule my grocery time, or my time when I go to the store or anything. But I absolutely dread it. And I know that if I schedule my groceries in a day, I cannot expect myself to tap into that creative side of me immediately after coming home. There's absolutely no way. I need to rewind, and I need to take the rest, and I need to take that shower first. I mean, it's actually like a little bit of a cleansing ritual for my blocks. If I feel blocked, I just do something that will make me feel unstuck. And if that's making myself a nice cup of coffee or a latte macchiato, mostly it's like that's my fancy coffee. If I feel like I need some comfort, I would make myself a fancy coffee, or sometimes I need to listen to a book, or sometimes I need to read a few pages in my book, and actively allow myself to rest, and that's when the creativity comes. We cannot force it if we don't take action to actually open ourselves up to let ideas come to us. And that's what we need to do. I have never actually heard someone talk about inspiration like that. And I think it's actually a very nice way of doing a little reset on yourself. Like, you want to create and you want ideas to come, but your brain keeps thinking that ideas need to come, or otherwise you cannot create. But that is not what you're supposed to be doing at those times. You need to allow yourself to rest first and not think about the ideas to come, because that's when your logical side is activated, and you need to really tap into that softness that makes your artist's self thrive. And in order for your artist self to thrive, you need to be soft and comforted. You need to feel safe. And that's when I'm telling you, like, in the utmost chaos of life, it is very hard to create, because usually there is a sense of unsafety. There is a sense of there's a lot of stress happening in your life, and it is so hard to even think about relaxing, because you're constantly, like, you're just surviving in that period of your life. And it's okay if you create less, or if you create differently, but allowing yourself the rest, even if life's good, but also, of course, at any given time in your life, you need to rest in order for ideas to come to you. And I'm not telling you either that if you're going through a rough patch that ideas won't come, because they will. It will be at random times where your body feels a little bit more restful or a little bit more safe. But as an artist, remind yourself that the ideas come not from yourself, not from your brain, but it's an energy that you need to welcome. And if you look at it like that, it is so much easier also to welcome the part of rest in your life in order to create, and you will create more joyfully as well. Because even though it's a job, it's a different job. It is not the type of job that society expects from us, and that's why it's hard, because you cannot be stressed. Of course, you're allowed to be stressed, and life is pretty heavy in and of itself, but you don't need the extra stress. Tap into your softness, and that will allow your ideas, they're like everywhere. Ideas are everywhere. Let ideas come to you in ways where you're welcoming them. Other than that, of course, I can tell you also where I find most of my inspiration. And for me, it is important that, especially since I had a feeling that I was never really fully seen, I create comics that make myself and others feel seen. So I love the vulnerabilities of what makes us human and the rawness of humanity, and that's what I portray. So it's something that I feel heavily in myself. Like, it's a feeling that I need to express and I love to express, and that's mainly where my ideas come from. So yeah, I think it's a very present feeling that I already have, and when ideas come, it's usually in that format. So I love how it all works, and I love how it all comes together, and how it yeah, it's a full circle moment for me. Like, being an artist is literally, yeah, it's my purpose. Thank you again to my patrons for allowing me this beautiful artist life, and for allowing me to create these videos and to talk to you, to connect with you, and through my videos and through my comics. I really am so grateful for that. I love also that I get to share some snippets of my personal experiences, I guess, as an artist, and my personal tips with you. So I really hope that this video was helpful in a way. I feel like those are my own go-tos to let ideas come to me, and also the mindset of what ideas are like. Because I read the book The Artist's Way, it has changed my entire perspective, definitely. And it allowed me, like, it's so much easier also for granting myself the rest that I need in order to create. So yeah, if you want to see more of my work, please join my Patreon. You can for as little as €2 per month, but otherwise there's also a free option. But of course, my patrons take away so much of the financial stress that I would otherwise experience, that would impact my own art blogs and my own life as an artist so much. So my patrons definitely are the fuel behind my work, and I appreciate them so much. So yeah, head over to my Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!